It has been argued that no-fault divorce undermines the sanctity of marriage by allowing one spouse, typically the woman, to leave a marriage without providing a valid reason.
I recently saw an article where they want to make it difficult for women to get divorced.
So when no-fault divorce became the norm, the suicide rate in women dropped by 20%. 20% just based on
From fault to no fault.
Fault to no fault. So going back to fault divorces does nothing but traps women and keeps them in dangerous situations. Period. Full stop.
This is an all-out assault on women.
So Governor DeSantis just signed into law a bill that would end alimony payments for men who were mandated to pay these payments for the rest of their ex-wives' lives. They called it alimony forever. It protected women who decided or accepted the role of giving up their ability to earn an income to raise families. You know, the traditional Christian values thing. Yeah, they bought into that. And then for whatever reason, the marriage ended and they had already given up their chance to be big breadwinners because they stayed at home. And now he stripped away their income. That makes a lot of sense, right? Reassure women that if they give up their ability to earn income and become stay-at-home moms, that they'll be okay. But, you know, not all of us choose to be mothers, right? Some of us are forced. As a matter of fact, in Florida, if you don't know you're pregnant before 6 weeks, then you're going to lose the ability to have an abortion. And in many cases, little children are going to be forced to have children because there's not a lot of protection for young girls there too, especially a young girl that has not had her first menstrual cycle and is being molested by a man. She's not going to even know she's pregnant and go much past the deadline for that. So I don't know. If I lived in Florida, if I didn't already have a hysterectomy, I'm sure I would be looking into sterilization. I mean, it's just such a mess. Making America great down there in Florida. DeSantis, you're killing it. I mean, you're killing it.
They want us at their mercy so they can go back to their cheating, abuse, etc. without consequence. Thank God, Gov. DeSantis stopped these men from being robbed. These women had plenty of time to figure it out. Equality, remember. At the end of the day, they don't want women to be able to easily leave their husbands. No-fault divorce is on the chopping block too. Good. Alimony makes sense for a couple years, but for life is ridiculous. How is it fair for a husband to pay alimony for life? Giving alimony is meant to help get back on your feet, not live on it forever.
We are strong, independent women. We don't need no man. Women also. Yeah. There's an outcry over taking away lifetime alimony. The law that DeSantis signed in is a step in the right direction. It omitted lifetime alimony in Florida and says that alimony cannot exceed 1/2 the length of the marriage. But apparently these strong, independent women don't have very strong convictions in what they believe because now they're leaving the Republican Party over this. I mean, because alimony's taken away, they'll no longer be Republicans. And if you read the little subtitle, it's a quote. My fear is that they'll take me back to court and I don't have the money for this. Well, how do you think men have felt for years when they've been taken back to court over and over again over child support, over custody of their children, over more alimony, over these long, extensive, financially ruining divorces? I mean, it wasn't the anti-LGBTQ laws. It wasn't the anti-trans laws. It wasn't the abortion laws, taking away their bodily choice, but take away the money that they can get off a man and they're going to leave the Republican Party. The greed and their ability to just publicly say, I'm not independent. I need a man to pay my way. Well, not wanting to say it publicly. You seriously can't make this shit up. Toxic women are on full display right now.
Hi there, Billy Tarasi with Modern Law. Question of the day. I was married over 10 years and my divorce is not final and I'm being told I don't qualify for alimony or spousal support. Why not? Well, there is no rule in Arizona that says you qualify for spousal support after you've been married for 10 years. I think what you might be thinking about is that you qualify for Social Security under your spouse's eligibility under their credits if you've been married for 10 years, but it really has absolutely nothing to do with spousal support or alimony in Arizona. To qualify in Arizona, you have to meet one of 4 criteria. You have to be able to meet your reasonable needs on your own, so you have to need it, or you have to have contributed to their education, career to the detriment of your own, or be a certain age and that you can't go work for yourself. You cannot be rehabilitated to get your own job. If you don't qualify under one of those factors, you don't get maintenance.
No-fault divorce is a good thing. There is a movement of people who believe no-fault divorces should be illegal. But let me tell you why it's incredibly important. No one should be forced to stay in a marriage if they're not happy, and no one should be forced to jump through hoops to be able to initiate the divorce process if they're not happy. All you're doing is allowing more time to pass for things to get harder and harder for you and your spouse. So I don't think no-fault divorces should be illegal.
I don't think anybody should be forced to stay in a marriage where they are not happy. But again, marriage isn't about happiness. It's a commitment you make to your partner. There's days you're gonna be happy, and there's days you won't. No matter which one of those days you get, you are still expected to commit. I just think that there should be accountability for breaking the vows you made. Women think that no-fault divorce is a control tactic, but really what it is a defensive measure against women initiating divorce based on their feelings. If a woman decides to leave a marriage, she can. Just don't expect to walk with half.
The top of the article is cut off, but yes, it says Republican women say they will switch parties after DeSantis approves alimony law. So last Friday, Ron DeSantis signed a bill into law. It is SB 1416 that will get rid of permanent alimony payments. Well, there was a giant uproar from a group called First Wives Advocacy Group. It's a coalition of older women who say their lives will be upended without their alimony payments. The law allows a judge to reduce or terminate alimony payments based on a number of factors, like the age and health and economic impact on the person who's making the payments. Even if you're married for 20 years plus, you'll probably only get 75% of the term of the marriage. There's a quote in here from one of the women that says 3,000 women across the state of Florida are switching to Democrat and we will campaign against him forever. I gotta say, I never thought that this would be the thing that would wake them up. I bet free healthcare is looking pretty good right now in your old age.
Which is it? Are women strong and independent, or are they the weaker sex? Depending on men to provide their basic needs. Women can go out and get jobs now. There's no excuse for alimony at all. You want financial security? Stay with your husbands. These men complaining about alimony and calling women greedy are hilarious. Y'all don't even have money, let alone wives, so please sit down. If y'all are strong and independent, go take your strong, independent ass and get a job. Y'all don't need alimony, and honestly, don't deserve it. If there was no financial gain in marriage, I bet women would marry a lot less or be more selective.
For some men, marriage is seen as a hallowed, long-lasting responsibility, a bond intended to get through difficulties and difficulties. The presentation of no-fault separation has, in certain points of view, made it excessively simple for ladies to leave a marriage without adequate reason, some of the time exploiting the framework for monetary or individual addition. Progressing from long-lasting to restricted divorce settlement could make monetary difficulties for ladies, particularly more established ladies who have committed their lives to family care to the detriment of building vocations. These ladies frequently depend on long-haul provision to keep up with their way of life after separation. The change reflects societal expectations that gender roles have changed and that women should be financially independent, even after a divorce. However, some people were unprepared for this change because they thought men would provide for them throughout their lives.
Florida updated the alimony laws. That is no longer permanent. I got to do a lot more research and digging into it, but it's a start. You know, I feel like a lot of women have been living off men, destroying men's financial lives and mental health after divorces because of things not working out. And men get punished a lot of times heavy because they don't want to be in a relationship anymore. Or the woman went and filed for divorce. I feel like it's only right that we continue to try to have these laws updated, even the child support laws for good men. Let's try to keep these laws being updated, man. Let's speak out. And, man, let's just thank God that steps are being taken. Men are starting to be recognized and be heard.
Did you know that it took over 40 years for the government to legalize no-fault divorce? And researchers who tracked the outcome of that found that there were huge drops in DV and in women no longer ending their lives, as well as decreases in spousal homicide of women. And this wasn't just because women could more easily divorce their partners, but also because potential abusers knew that they were more likely to be left. No-fault divorce saves countless lives and allows anyone to not feel trapped in a relationship that they don't want to be in.
Alimony reform is back again in the Florida legislature, just like it is every year. I like the idea of alimony reform because I like the idea that it would give a calculation for what an alimony determination would be. It wouldn't be so subjective. And this year, the bill does not include any children-related issues, which is why I further support the bill. So stay tuned. Let's see what happens.
If your husband is a good guy, but you're ready for divorce, you're not a bad person. So don't let guilt get the best of you.
You're not doing him any favors by staying. If anything, you're actually going to start building up resentment. Your relationship doesn't have to be toxic to validate your feelings of wanting to leave. Think of it this way. If he's a good guy, he deserves to be happy. That means he deserves to be with somebody who values him and wants him just the way he is. If that's not you, you gotta let him go.
He may not see it like this right now, but you're doing both of you a favor.
You need help.
Florida family law tip of the day. Governor DeSantis did sign the alimony reform bill yesterday, so effective today, July 1st, permanent alimony is a thing of the past in Florida. In addition, it limits the amount of alimony the recipient can get to their reasonable need or 35% of the difference of the parties' net incomes, whichever is less.
So Texas GOP has added to its platform that they want to get rid of no-fault divorce, which means that the woman has to prove infidelity or abuse in order to get divorced. And Republicans all over the nation are pushing for this in other state legislatures. So I would advise young women today to not get married legally. Have a ceremony. Have a commitment with your partner. Have a nice wedding, whatever, but do not trap yourselves into the confines of the law with divorce, because when we say that they're not going to stop with banning transgender care and getting rid of gay marriage and continuing to oppress people of color, they're not going to stop with marginalized groups. They are going to go after women, eventually men, but right now they're going after women. And banning no-fault divorce is the most ridiculous fascist thing I've ever seen. It's another way to trap women. It's another way to control women. And so honestly, as a 41-year-old divorced woman, to the young women of today, don't trap yourselves. Don't file the papers. Just be in love and have a commitment.
No alimony for my cheating ex. Unfortunately, in Florida, because it's a no-fault divorce state, whether or not your ex cheated does not determine whether or not you may be paying alimony. If you do not have a prenup and you are married for the requisite period of time, you may in fact be paying alimony to your cheating ex. Here is the new calculation for alimony in Florida under the new law. The amount of alimony is no more than 35% of the differences between the parties' net incomes. The length of alimony varies depending on what term of marriage you had. If you had a marriage that was short term, the length of alimony is no more than 50% of the total term of marriage. Under moderate term marriages, it's no more than 60% of the total term of marriage. And under long term marriages, it's no more than 75% of the total term of the marriage. So for those of you complaining about permanent alimony no longer existing, if you were married for 20 years, it means you're still getting 15 years of alimony.
The reason why ending no-fault divorce is a good thing. So, some of you pointed out that it was put in to make it cheaper and easier to leave a marriage. This is true from the person who wants the divorce, and it is untrue from the person who doesn't want the divorce. So generally, no-fault divorce, which is 90% of divorces, means there was no legitimate reason other than they were just unhappy instead of working things out, which kind of destroys what marriage is. A marriage is supposed to be good times and bad times, sickness, health, till death do you part. And then, on top of that, the reason why it was really expensive before, it was really, really, really hard to prove infidelity. It was really hard to prove abuse, but everyone has a camera in their pocket now. It's not hard to prove anymore. Not to mention, you can still walk away from marriage if you want to, without a fault. You just don't get alimony and money out of it. So it better be worth it. Just saying.
Why should a cheating spouse get rewarded alimony and half of assets? It's about finances, people. You can walk away, but you're not taking alimony because you want out. So wrong. 70% of women initiate divorce. So that means marriage in general is a terrible idea for men. Don't do it, guys. It's really about finances for these women. That's what they fear. They don't like the idea of no-fault divorce because they worry they won't get spousal support once they end their marriage. These women shouldn't get rewarded for breaking their vows. It's unfair to the man. Financial support should be based on need and fairness, not on who decides to leave. It's essential to create a system where both parties are treated justly, ensuring that one isn't unfairly burdened, while the other benefits from breaking the marriage contract.
Should women be scared of the new Florida divorce law? Yes. No longer is there permanent alimony. The amount of alimony that you're going to get has been predetermined.
Why would you be scared? This is the thing. Like, if you're a lady, why would you sit there and try to make your entire future based on whether or not you can get a certain amount of money from the guy that you're with? Why are you looking to protect yourself from divorce like this in the first place? And why is it that you're worried about getting more money?
The length of time that you are going to get alimony has been cut down. That's why married women should fear the new Florida divorce law.
Shout out to Florida, because this disincentivizes people from getting divorced. Somewhere between 70 and 80% of divorces are initiated by women. If you want to know like who this affects, it's like women are incentivized by unlimited alimony to get divorced.
The political landscape may shift as Republican women express concern about changes to divorce and alimony laws. These ladies could feel that these changes don't safeguard their inclinations, possibly impacting casting a ballot conduct in ongoing races. Such disappointment could prompt inner divisions inside the party, reshaping party elements and influencing elector arrangements, especially around family regulation issues. The assumption that ladies ought to get back to the labor force post-separation can be testing, especially for the people who left their vocations and considered men will constantly be the suppliers. Re-entering the workforce is difficult for these women, especially those who are older or have fewer skills. This demonstrates the conflict that exists between traditional family roles and contemporary economic expectations, where gender equality in divorce is desired but not always achievable. And that concludes today's discussion on MGTOW Voice. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to stay updated on future videos. Share your thoughts in the comments below, and I'll see you all in the next video.